'Cause I remember a post I saw, one of my bros from Omaha, a post with you, and I was like, it just clicked. I'm like, oh, he's pastoring now. Mm-hmm. That was my reintroduction from the Barber Chair to that post. Then I saw Triumph Worship Center, and I'm like, oh, how we get here?
To the barbershop. Guy came in, he was crying. I was like, man, what's going on, man? He's like, shoot, bro, got some challenges right now. We're about to lose the church. And I was like, man, in business, we don't lose nothing. We know how to leverage it. And we have a responsibility to be good stewards over what God gives you. So maybe I can come in and I can help. He see the successes of the business, 3 barbershops, 3 locations. He felt sure enough to be able to ask us for help, me and my wife. I told him I would meet his family, and the church was just in a dire strait. You know, they were like, hey, there's nothing we can do. They asked me a question, should we sell or what should we do? And I was like, I don't believe in selling anything away and just walking away with money, especially when it comes down to the kingdom of God or a business. Like, there's a way to steward a thing to get the thing where it needs to be. So came in with the business mindset. Everything was going so well. The church started growing. They said, the former pastors, hey man, I think my time for leadership in this capacity is drawn nigh. We got a few more days. This church is going to go down. Man, should we sell it or what can we do? And I said, shoot, I'll take it. You know what the craziest thing is? Like, where's your faith when everybody doesn't believe in what you believe, or they don't want to hear what you believe? All they want you to do is provide a service. And so I got used to, in the shop, rejection.
For the culture, for the church, for everybody, let's help debunk some myths.
Our facilities, church bills, attorneys, and we have staff. It's an organization. First, it just happens to be a spiritual one. He's my business partner. Why would you stiff your business partner? The 10% when he lets you keep 90. Now, most people want to go 50-50. Pastors taking money. I don't take money from the church. I have businesses. You know, I'm a professional day trader. I have a construction company, a barber school. I have a gym where I run Nike programs. Majority of the money that I have, I give back to the house of God to make sure that it actually is sustained, because my business partner, God, gives me these transactions in order to invest my tithe back into the church to keep the church afloat. My business expands, and my business partner continues to favor me because I'm not building what I want to build, but I'm actually building what he told me to build. The world always says, well, a pastor doesn't deserve to have that amount of money, but you don't know my business transaction. You don't know actually what I'm giving away, what I'm doing. And then to some of the comedians like Drewski, you can't bash what you've never attended. Teaching gets the world out of people because teaching is a tool. Preaching is get you emotional, get you riled up, and exhortation. Come on, yeah, we can do it, but where are we going? Doctors don't fix you, they prescribe medicine. A pastor is supposed to prescribe prayer, faith, fasting, a Bible study, fellowship. We prescribe what you should do to the desired outcome and the result of you getting better and becoming healthier. A loss for God is not really a loss. 3 levels you have to give up: people, places, or things. God always requires a sacrifice. You just don't know what the sacrifice is going to be. It's going to be something though. Your success is not based off of whether the world knows you. Does God know you?
He wasn't about his father's religious practice. He said, I'm about my father's business. And then he goes on to bring on disciples who all have their own business.
And that's what all pastors should be able to do. Teach a message, show the people how to get to where they are. And I tell my congregation all the time, you don't want a leader that can't teach you how to get to where it is that you need to get to. I'm trying to feed everybody, whether you got a sweet tooth or no tooth. I'm trying to find out.
Sweet tooth or no tooth, listen.
It's all sides.
Just some applesauce. We gonna get you some mashed potatoes.
Hey, I gotta find out what works for you, because my job is to keep you fed. You know, man, and it's a work, man. Because everybody's on a different level. They come from different places, different ways, different homes, different belief systems. You at the stadium, at the football game, any place that you can share Christ and any place there's people, that's your pulpit. And I think we look at pulpits as a stationary piece of wood or the great oak. I don't preach about a pulpit. I am a pulpit.
There's no cutting Pastor Mike Todd. Like what? Take us to that moment some time ago.
He reached out to me and was like, hey man, heard you the hottest barber in the city. Hey, I'm in the city, I'm on my book tour, and I was wondering if you could cut me. Now, some of the people that he knew, I knew, that he was like, man, who do y'all have in Dallas, Fort Worth, that can get me right? And somebody was like, man, hey, bro, you need to go to Noah. Noah get you right. He do house calls. He's like, well, ask him, to meet me at the radio station. And make a long story short, I met him over there, got him faded, got him cut. There was like something crazy that happened like after that. Like I cut Pastor Mike Todd there. He was like, bro, you cut me without knowing me, but you gave me exactly what I wanted and more. I was like, man, I really appreciate that. Then he asked me, like, is there anything that I can do for you? I'm like, no, not really. Yeah, I'm good, bro. I appreciate you for letting me provide a service to you. I never wanted my gift to be pimped or used for what I could get further than just that moment to be able to use my gift. So I remain humble. I remain meek. A week later, he called me back and said,